Welcome to the fourth lesson about ROS. In this lesson we are going to generate a new URDF file for a movable robot. This robot is composed by 4 parts and 3 joints. One part is the base of the robot. The second part rotates around this z-axis. The third part rotates around this axis. Finally, we have a drilling unit, which translates along the beam. So basically, we have a mining robot, which is able to move this drilling head in many different positions. Let's see how this stuff is built together. First of all, you create the robot parts using a CAD program, which let you to model parts, give them geometrical properties and export them as a COLLADA files. All those parts are collected in a folder, just in case I want to change them in a later point. We have the first part called the basement. Then the second part called Arm 1. Then we have a third part, the beam, which is able to rotate around this yellow axis here. Then we have the drilling unit, which is this black unit here. It is able to translate along the beam. At the end we have the whole assembly called telema. Now we navigate to the source directory inside our workspace and create a new package using the ROS tools. As you can see, ROS generated a pre-configured Python package for us. Inside this package, we edit the file package XML at first. For instance, we add the version of our package and a short description of our package. Those information are not mandatory, but it's a good habit to edit them. The license of the package is an important field, which should not be neglected. Furthermore, we edit the setup.py file as well. Usually, we put here the same information about description, version, and license. So we're going to change the version. We're going to put a description of our project and finally to update the license type. Okay, now it is a good practice to create a new folder inside our package folder, which we can name in this case model. Into this new folder we move the CAD files of our robot. Now I'm going to create our URDF file for building our new robot. For instance, robot model1.urdf. In this file, we are going to define the links, the parts, and the joints, which connect the parts together. So let's open this file for editing. By the way, you can use any editor you prefer. I'm using Vim, just because I find it a great tool for coding. If you remember the last lesson, we need to write this XML line specifying the version. Then we have the very first tag, robot, which contains the name of the package telema, and the Zacro link for parsing our file. using XACRO is usually a good idea since it allows us to define interesting properties like variables and arguments. For instance, let's define one variable with the name height base, another variable for the length of the arm, and two more variables for the lower and upper bound position of the drilling unit. So we have now 4 variables with 4 different values, which I can use later in my code. I define now an extra variable or Zacro property, which defines the absolute path to the files where my Collada files are saved. In your system, you have to change the path accordingly to where those files are stored on your hard disk. Let's now define the first link, which I'm going to call base link. For this link, we need to define the geometrical properties. Since we want to import a COLLADA file, we use the mesh tag to import it. The path has already been previously defined as a variable. The nice thing about it is that, if my file location change, then I only need to update this variable. The file basement, which is the black base seen before, is the first mesh file to be imported. Remember to close the tag with a backslash. Always, defining the origin, remember to put it to 0, 0, 0. There are very few occasions where you want or you need to put other values in there. Let's add a second link to our robot with the name arm1. Of course, you can use another name if you prefer. Again, we are going to use the mesh file of our robot part. Lately, we define the origin at 0, 0, 0. Since we have 2 links, we can now define the first joint. By the way, note that in this case we did not define any dummy link like in the previous lesson. The reason for that is that our robot has a moving base, but this point is going to be explained in the next lesson. For the moment, let's define the first joint between base link and arm1. Since we have a continuous rotation, we define this joint as continuous. The parent link will be base link. The child link will be arm1. Pay attention to the origin. In this case, we need an offset between the 2 frames. But instead of writing a fixed value, we are going to use the variable defined above. In this case will be height base. The advantage of using variable is clear in case I want to change this value later. Since it was defined once at the beginning of the file, we can refer to it in our URDF file and treat as a conventional variable. That was the basic structure of the file. For saving time, I added now all the remaining part of the code, the arm2 and the drilling unit. Furthermore, I defined 2 more joints, one revolute and one prismatic joint. Let's now compile this package and let's see if the URDF file builds the robot as expected. We have to source as well. For visualizing our new URDF file, we can take advantage of the URDF tutorial package, which can be installed separately. In more advanced lessons, we are going to drop the URDF package and we will write our own package from scratch. After model, we need the path to the URDF file in our system. So we have here now the first joint as a continuous joint. Then here we have a second joint going from 0 to 3.14. This is, by the way, the pi value, so it's going from 0 degree to 180 degree. And then we have the drilling units ranging from 0.4 to 1.9 meter. In case you are asking yourself where those valves came from, then take a look to the URDF file defined before. Those values have been hard-coded into the URDF file, and they express the geometrical constraints of the robot kinematics. In case of the revolute joint, you must define the limits by filling the field velocity and effort in the limit tag. Since they are not relevant in our code, you can put any value in there. Most important are the field's lower bound and upper bound, which define the physical limits in which the robot can translate or rotate. Again, we used our previously defined variables, the lower driller and the upper driller limit. I can change those values at any time, in case the limits of my robot change. This is all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to move this robot from a code. Thank you very much. See you soon.